So here we have our SPX, our daily price action chart. So if we look at this and especially pay attention to the momentum and the structure, so for whether it doesn't really matter whether we're looking at the stochastic RSI or the regular RSI, what we can see objectively is that both are indicating very bearish behavior. Whether the fact of the matter that we're about or already are crossing, whether it's 50 on the stochastic RSI, whether it's about to cross 50 on the regular RSI, we are seeing very clear indication that the direction of the trend, if you can kind of see, since we were at our highs, pardon me for that mess, yeah, as you can see, we're having more of a downwards kind of inkling in this instance, since this is more of an exponential tool. It shows that to be the more a recent sort of breakdown, and we will switch to the weekly in a second to kind of see how it really looks like, right? So let's switch to the weekly. On the weekly, if we pay attention to the structure, right, doesn't matter whether logarithmic or arithmetic, we're going to find again that the structure here is quite bearish, whether it's the nature of the convergence divergence right around our stochastic RSI right here, right above that 50 range, or whether it is the curvature that we're getting on our or a regular RSI that is starting to basically move from a bullish trend, from this sort of upwards trend, and is not able to penetrate that 80 area, right? Well, it's the regular RSI, so 70, pardon me, 70 area on the regular RSI, which is the very same thing that you will see on the stochastic RSI. And that is quite indicative of the inability to continue that upwards trend, but more so the flattening of the curvature and subsequently coming to an end of a trend. And since this is more of an exponential tool, it's showing that very same thing, but in more of this downwards kind of pressure structure that is right nearing on that border between the bullish and the bearish. Once we cross that 50 range, we basically become bearish. Although not bearish on steroids, as we call it, which is oversold right below the 20 range, which we will see an indication that we're moving towards as we continue in the following weeks and months. So if we look at our monthly chart again, we're seeing something very similar. We're seeing how we're about to transition into this bearish dominance. We're coming to an end of our bullish momentum. Similarly, so we're seeing on our regular RSI, structure-wise, we're hitting the ceiling. In fact, this is an adjusted structure, and if we look at it over the longer period, we're going to realize that the structure actually had a slightly of a lower ceiling. It's been readjusted given this abnormal highs that we've recently had, simply because of how the market was recently, the FOMO effect, right? That extend the trend kind of behavior. At the end of the day, if we look at how the cycle looks like and behaves like, it is similar to a triathlon that has three parts to it, right? And let's although the actual downtrend part of that triathlon, if you will, is part of the very cycle, but for simplicity's sake, right, to kind of keep it simple, that so everyone can understand this, uh, the in this instance, once we come to this end of that partition at which the bearish partition starts, which again the final partition of the full cycle. So if we're comparing to that to the triathlon, that would be the third final leg of the race. And that final leg of the race happens once you finish the second leg of the race. Naturally, once you finish one, the other one starts. And so the way we can, or at least myself, how do I identify the beginning of that downwards trend, or that last third leg of that triathlon, is basically via the finish of the second one. And again, if you are aware of the technical tools and how to use them, how to measure and identify longer lasting trends, and how we switch over from one cycle to the other, from one trend to the other, from one channel to the other, what the momentum or rather the cyclicality of the price action requires for us to fulfill before we complete these processes and then turn over. And by the way, those who don't know, I teach that in a one-on-one academy, literally like tutoring, like one-on-one tutoring, the same way you would get a tutor for your kid, teaching him math or whatever, geography, whatever other subject you would like to get a tutor for your child, English, I don't know, another language, whatever, French. Very same way I sit with my clients on the Discord, one-on-one sessions, sharing screen, exactly like in this scenario where you're getting to see my screen and exactly the explanations to why, how, and all that beautiful stuff. Right now I have multiple open windows, which I highly recommend taking a benefit of, because I will be locking in the Academy towards the end of the year, because I do have a couple of giveaways I want to do. I will be doing the first one will be at the end of this month. I will be giving away a $10,000 value present or giveaway, if you will, to one of my Patreons. That will be basically in the form of giving them the entire academy, right, for free. That simply is, although I do sell the services of the academy for 3,500 right now, the original value of the academy is $10,000. Yes, believe it or not, it is highly valuable, and it exposes multiple tools that truly allow you to read the market and stop guessing, being truly independent. And yes, as I said, I do it one-on-one, and afterwards you also gain the lifetime membership on the Discord and the community, basically almost like a lifetime Patreon. As long as the Discord, the community exists, you will be a part of it, and you'll get exposure to the highest tier of information and stuff that I will be showing and talking and having meetings, which, by the way, some of you maybe are unfamiliar. In my community, I've been having, the reason I've been sort of a little bit laid back and behind the scenes, if you will, on things, partially is on purpose, and just to kind of put it out there, I do have still and retain these once a week, depending on who you are, twice a week meetings, which I of course then post for my community to view later, right, as you can see. And I've been keeping them up to speed, and my community is more than prepared and have been prepared for what is coming, and we've been talking about these sort of things for quite a while. And yeah, I've been warning how this sort of issue is up to come, and we can see evidence of it on the technical side of things. And yes, my community was the one that I've been putting most of my time into, and I highly recommend all of you join so you can be a part of things, and especially that the community is going to be going through some changes and very cool benefits that only the community members will be gaining towards the end of the year. Partially, the other giveaway that I wanted to talk about is that going to be also to only one of the Patreons, one of the members in the community, someone who is a member on the Discord, right? But that's going to be a completely random choice. That's going to be at the end of the year, probably. If we're looking at the dates, probably going to be decided on the 26th, 7th, if I'm not mistaken, of next month. The end of this month, at the end of this month, I will be choosing a member of my choice out of the entire community who's going to be gaining that academy for free, and the other person who'll be gaining it will be a completely sort of random lottery kind of thing, that basically a completely random system will decide who's going to get it. Now, okay, so objectively speaking, we're coming to an end of a trend. We can see that in multiple time frames. If we're looking at the larger end of the time frames, basically at the zoomed out point of view. In fact, if we're looking at our half-year chart, we can recognize something very similar. We are running that engine super hot, and naturally when we do come to these moments, we tend to break down and have a rather severe correction. And given how high we are already, and we're at the end of what appears to be the technical cycle at the utter end of this second leg of the triathlon, from here on out it's only downwards. And if you ask me again, I remind of that particular number, that 3,300, which in my assessment, and again, doesn't have to be so long. I know I'm not saying it's going to last all the way to 31. It can be, in fact, and as you normally say, the downtrends, we go up by the stairs, go down by the elevator, gain in droplets, lose in buckets, right? Basically gain a little bit, lose a lot very, very quickly. Basically, the market drops far quicker than it gains. It has to do with how our human psychology functions. And yes, we've been stretched out for quite a long time, and now basically coming to an end. Every good thing must come to an end, you know. That's it. That is my reading for the time being. Now, no other changes other than the fact that, like I said in my last video, this is the end, right? And now we're now coming to that point where the momentum is going to be pulling potentially. Again, why am I saying potentially? Because there is a very deep internal level of a structure that I'm not gonna say I'm being lazy. It's just that I realize how unstable that thing is, and may still show another high, kind of close to that 69 vicinity. Could be slightly right above it, maybe 69.50. Although I really don't think that is the case. The indicators are very much objectively indicating for the end of that cycle, and it appears to be the case given the behavior of the recent sessions, which is quite indicative of a particular structure that has a set of rules that it has to obey. And so that behavior is actually completely not abnormal to those who understand that structure and how the price action must behave within that structure. Otherwise, it's going to be what we are familiar with as pattern breaking. And because it's not pattern breaking and insisting on that pattern that it needs to retain, we are in fact seeing the beginning of that downwards third leg of the triathlon, if you will. That is it, boys and girls. That's all I wanted to keep you up to speed. Community announcements and all sorts of stuff. SPX analysis. I hope everyone gained something from it. I highly recommend there are links in the description below. Of course, join the community. Now is the best time, and yes, I am serious. Now is the best time simply because all of these tiers will be locked towards the end of the year. Simply because I am expecting quite a serious influx of new members, and I'm just one human being. Yes, I do have a couple of admins, but they're also human beings, and so yeah, I'm kind of limiting how many people can join. Simply because we want to give everyone the utmost of attention and sort of welcome and them get to know what it is the community is all about. And so I highly recommend joining now, not to get stuck outside. And remember, Black Friday is coming up, Cyber Monday, that we will have very great discounts on TradingView, which is the main platform we're using for analysis, as you can see on the screen right now. I highly recommend it. I've been using it forever and a bit. I myself have a premium account. I do not have an agreement with them. I'm not being subsidized by them by any way. I don't have, what you call a thingamajig. Yeah, I don't have anything with them, basically. This is completely on my behalf, and I would really wish to have a contract with them, being subsidized, so, or at least having some of my videos subsidized by them. Yeah, having a YouTuber blackout, forgetting the term. But anyway, yeah, thank you very much. I hope to see you all on the next video. I know I've been sort of a little bit on the downside of making videos recently, but that is on purpose because I've been putting 110% into my community members and community overall. Love you all. Hope to see you in the community itself. Bye for now.